Good morning. This is Pastor Lance of Breakthrough Ministry. Just wanted to come with a quick message for this Wednesday morning. And, I guess I want to title this one, Surrender Your All Unto God. I know that in the past, I used to hold things. I used to hold my thoughts, hold everything, hold my struggles. I held it all in, and mentally I was breaking. I was breaking to a point where I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know what to say. I was just felt like I was drowning in my own thoughts and drowning in my own misery, and nobody could understand. I kept a smile on my face and I was dying in the inside. Well, here I am to tell you that if you're feeling in that boat, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you can't get ahead, if you're feeling like life is falling down on you and every day you're trying to get up and stand and it's like it's like it's impossible to move forward. It's like it's impossible to get out of that rut that you in because something catastrophic that happened in your life. And yes, what you see as catastrophic, somebody else may not see. They may see as little pain, but we all bruise differently and we all heal differently. And guess what? You have the right to feel the way that you feel, but I am coming here to tell you to surrender your all unto God, to give God your everything. Let him be your everything in life. I was trying to be loved and find love from all the wrong people. I had to be loved by God first, because when God loved me, it showed me how to love myself, and then it showed me how I needed and wanted to be loved by others. So I'm telling you, you have to open up and surrender God. Surrender to him. Surrender your thoughts unto God, because what happens is what we think, we become. What Satan puts in our thoughts or try to whisper in our ear, we think it, and then we think we're nothing. I ain't going to be anything. I'm not going to obtain it. I'm not going to be able to have it. I'm going to settle. This is where I'm going to be. This is too hard. No. Surrender your thoughts unto God so God can turn around and give you positive thoughts that you're going to make it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If God is for me, who can be against me? I will make it. That way, positive thoughts are in your thoughts every single day, because that's all we do. When we at work and we can't physically speak, what are we doing? We thinking. When we laying down getting ready for bed, a lot of times we're thinking. A lot of times we can't even sleep because our mind is still thinking. We're thinking about something that took place. We're thinking about something that happened. We're thinking about maybe a moment where somebody did something. We should have said something and we didn't say it, and it's eating at us all night, right? Because our thoughts, our mind is still going, although our body is at rest. That's why that mind is strong, and that mind, it has to be protected. Give your mind unto God. Surrender it unto him. Surrender your actions unto God. Because, guys, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do stupid things. We're going to do lessons learned, right? We're going to do things in this lifetime that's going to cause us to maybe get set back. That's going to cause us to maybe be in a frenzy. But guess what? It's called a mistake, and it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And when I say you're going to be okay, you may say, well, Lexus, I got to do jail time behind this. Oh, it's going to go on my record, but you're going to be okay. Amen. You're going to be okay. Why? Because this is important. And if you give this to God, then all else shall follow. Your body, your actions, all of this shall follow. It's going to follow where the mind is, because the mind is so strong. And that is what you got to keep protected from Satan. So if you surrender it unto God and let your thoughts, because what a man thinketh, come on now. So that's why it's important, guys. So surrender your actions unto God. So therefore, first, you think before you act. And therefore, you act more appropriately and with a sense of responsibility. And when I say that, basically, it's thinking before you act. Hey, if I do this, it's consequences behind it. Hey, if I do that, it's consequences behind it. Basically, it's saying it's consequences behind my actions. So therefore, if God has my mind and I'm thinking before I act, I'm going to act just a little bit different. I'm going to act a little bit with caution now. I'm not going to just jump out there and do things. And the most thing about it, you got to pray first. I'm a prayer warrior. So everything that surrounds me with prayer. I pray before I go to certain places. I pray before I make decisions. I pray before I get involved into something. I pray over the simplest things that people would sit there and say, why are you spending that time into prayer? Why? Because I want God's direction on all things. If he is the God of yesterday, today, and forevermore, then he is the God of my past, my present, and my future. So if God knows what I'm going to get myself entangled into, and if it's going to work for my benefit, then shouldn't I go to him in prayer before I step forward? Shouldn't I go to seeking his guidance before I get into it? Because I'm seeking his guidance. He's giving me an answer, and his answer is going to be the right answer. Because I may say, hey, I want to work at this workplace, right? And temporarily for a year or two, it may be all good, right? But it's not going to be everlasting. But the other workplace that may pay a little bit less, going to be less peaceful, and it's going to give me the 20 years that I'm searching for. That's what's important. That's why you ought to seek God for his guidance. And you do that through prayer. You do it through prayer. But one thing about our God, he's not going to surrender himself unto us. We have to surrender unto him. That's why I say your thoughts, because God don't like a prideful person. And if you prideful, it's because you want to do your own will. You want to do your own way. But if you surrender unto God, you're doing God's will. You're doing God's way. And then all else shall follow. Surrender your heart unto God. Because in here, we got a heart of unforgiveness. We human beings find it very hard to forgive somebody who have hurt us. And what I found, people can hurt you in the slightest and in the most difficult, but still yet we will not release that burden of forgiveness. We won't release it. So guys, give your heart unto Christ. So therefore he can come in and make amends. He can come in and make things right. Now you may have wronged some people. You may ask for forgiveness and they may not forgive you, but guess what? It's okay. You tried. You did it. Right? You took that extra step. I don't say sorry to some people. I know that I ain't do nothing too. Why? Because I want to be in good standing with God at all time, not man. Man don't bother me. How man feel about me don't bother me. How my Father feels about me is what I stand for, my character, to make sure it is always in good standing at all times. So I may say I'm sorry. To them I look weak, but to my Father I am mighty, because I said sorry to a crime or to a statement or to an argument or whatever that I didn't even commit. And that is what is important. That is what we have to search for every single day. Not the approval of man, but the approval of our Father. Not the wants of man, but the needs of our Father. He said we ought to go out here and be disciples. We ought to go out here, guys, and work for the Lord and be a servant of his each day and every day. Well, guess what? We can't do his work unless we work on ourselves first, unless we good with ourselves first. If you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, it's not the physical beauty. It's the inside that you see about yourself that you don't like. It's the low self-esteem. It's the self-consciousness of yourself. It's the mistakes. It's your past. It's things like that that make the man that you're looking at in the mirror not beautiful to you when you look. That's why you got to get your spiritual right, guys. It's all about your spiritual. Once you get your spiritual man intact, everything else shall follow. Everything else will be glorified. Everything else will be beautified. So guys, you got to make sure you surrender everything you got unto God. And when you do, finances will fall into place. Relationships will fall into place. Good things will come your way. Why? Because when you surrender unto God, you are a child of his at all times. Don't when your child act right, or I don't know how old you are, but when they was younger, they did right. It made you want to do more for them because they was following your rules. They was listening to you. They wasn't giving you a fit and a fight, right? So it made you want to do more for that child because that child was doing right according to the laws and the rules that you may have created in your household. Well, that's the same way our Father feels about us. That if we're following the rules and the laws that he have created, his commandments that he set before us, don't you think that he's going to give you just a little bit more? Don't you think that a little bit more doors will be open unto you? Don't you think that God would do exactly what it is that you're asking him to do according to his will? A lot of us leave that part out. He said, ask for anything in my name and he will do it. Everything is according to his will. He's not going to do every single thing that you're asking because everything that you're asking may not be beneficial unto you. We just can't see it at the moment. How many of us done got into a relationship with somebody that was not beneficial to us? That had kids with somebody that was not beneficial to us? Guys, I'm telling you, God knows better. But we don't want to listen to God because we don't want to move on God's timing. But I'm telling you, God's timing is perfect. And he will not lead you astray. And he will not lead you wrong. So guys, I just came this morning because the Lord put in my spirit yesterday, surrender all unto him. So make sure, guys, you do the surrender in Jesus' name. Be blessed.